Hello everyone, my name is Kevin and today we're going to be having a look at a game between the top right spawning as the red Protoss player. It's going to be Dragon Phoenix Gaming Zest, and in the bottom left spawning as the blue Terran player. It will be playing for Team Shopify Rebellion, Byun. It's a game from the Oli Molycast. We once again have my favorite Blizzard employee spinning around the nexus of Byun. This is fantastic. I wonder how many Koreans actually have that Blizzard employee spinning around their nexus. For the people not aware, this is whenever the picture can't be loaded or can be for whatever reason rendered, they just put this kind of as a placeholder there. I remember it being the case in Warcraft 3, and it's also the case, I believe, pretty sure it's the same guy. In Warcraft 3 it would always say tooltip missing, and then you'd see this guy's face pop up. Legendary days in your random custom games or arcade maps, whatever they were called. Now, what do we see Zest do over here? So Zest actually opened up with what I believe to be a Nexus before core. Yep, indeed the case. I just had to check the timings just to be sure. Sometimes I do get tricked by myself. Nexus before core. Now this is going to allow Zest to have slightly more gas. If you're not sure why that is the case, we just think about how the build orders function. So if you build a cybernetics core before a nexus, you get the core at 20 supply, you get the nexus at 20 supply, and you get your pylon at 20 or 21 supply, followed by a 22 gas. It means that you get your gas after your pylon. If you play a nexus before cybernetics core, you get your nexus at 20 supply, your cybernetics core at 20 supply, but because your cybernetics core is later, you don't need that pylon as fast. So instead what you'll do is you'll get your assimilator before your second pylon, allowing you to start mining from your second gas a little bit faster. It means your first gateway unit will be delayed by 8 to 9 seconds, but it will allow you to do things like this: a faster proxy Stargate, a faster hidden tech. Byun, on the other hand, doing what he's known to do, and that is not scouting and playing a... well, I don't want to call this a greedy opener because the command center is on the high ground, but this is an opener where... he's gonna get very fast stack, he's gonna have okay-ish eco. Don't get me wrong, his eco is fine, but he just went into very fast stack, which means he's going to allow himself to attack very quickly. But as a result of how he opened, he does not have any information. He did not open with a Reaper, he did not even scout with an SCV, so he has no clue about the missing second pylon, he has no clue about the proxied Stargate. He just has no clue whatsoever about what is happening here. He's gonna float that command center down right now as Zest is flying in with his first Oracle. Let's see what this Oracle will be capable of doing. So we see... oh, Zest. Well, you're not gonna need a Reaper or an SCV Scout if that first proxy Oracle is just gonna straight up fly into a mine. Now, I still believe Zest has some vision of this medevac move out, so Zest is gonna try to catch that. There's no Phoenix on the map. There's no Oracle on the map anymore either, as that has just died. We're gonna get at least 3 Stalker shots onto this first medevac, which means there's about, what, 7-8 shots remaining. Oh, Byun needs to be careful here. He's getting hit very hard by this Stalker. This individual Stalker almost single-handedly taking down that medevac. Now, the tricky part here for Zest is going to be to figure out what is happening. His scouting is pretty much gone. He won't be capable of building a sentry because that would interfere too much with his build order. On the other hand, Byun doesn't have all the information in the world, but he has enough information where it's like, okay, I kind of know what this is. We saw an Oracle, and if he knows Zest, which I assume Byun knows how Zest plays, at least a little bit, whenever Zest plays Proxy Stargate, 90% of the time this is followed up by straight blink, especially if the Terran sees no second Stargate unit. If you see a Phoenix, it could be that it's Forged Twilight, which Zest also likes. If it's a second Oracle, it could be going into Robo things, but with a single Oracle, the preferred follow-up for Zest is actually almost always going to be that blink with 3 gate or 4 gate. This time we see the 3rd gate is being proxied next to this Stargate, so very interesting start here where I'm much favoring Byun, and Byun is doing something that I think not enough Terrans do at times, where they just wait with their medevac for a very long time. Now what this does is, this keeps Zest in the dark. So Byun right now is going to win. I will explain exactly why I'm not a big fan of this, right after this. First of all, against a player like Zest, you're usually not going to get a lot of damage in, okay? You're going to get maybe What is it? Like 3-4 workers? Oh my god, Zest is doing this so sloppily. Actually, that last only got a single one. So 3 kills. You lost your medevac and your mines. And now what this allows Zest to do is Zest can now move across the map. Zest wasn't capable of doing this before. Had Byun never sent that in, the moment that Zest shows up with these stalkers at his front door, Byun is like, okay, I can just drop 1 in the main base, 1 in the natural, and 1 in the third base, because there's nothing there to stop the medevac, which is why I didn't really like that Byun went in. Probably expecting there to be blink as well. So now we have a big blink forward here coming out of Zest, actually lifting the tank and shooting it immediately. The Raven is still moving around, and I'm not sure how good this trade was for Zest. You see he's still down about 800. Now sometimes it's okay to invest in loss in a way where you lose a couple of stalkers for a tank if this allows you to build up some momentum with your push. But I'm honestly not seeing a lot of momentum with this push. He lost his Phoenix for the high ground. Stim is about to finish up. The bunker still is up as well. These mines are about to recharge, and the longer this game goes, the worse it gets for Zest. Right now he's adding 3 more gateways. Sure, he has slightly better eco than his opponent, but he's just down 20, 23 supply. Yeah, GG just gets called. Oh my god, what a game. As the Raven shows up into the main base, and I guess that Zest just warped in on the other side of the map. Turrets were taking out workers, and Zest decides this ain't it. Leaves game number 1. We'll be heading into game number 2 in this best of 5. Here we go. Game number 2 between... What is Zest doing? Oh, okay, this is a cheeky thing. He's gonna go for a 12 pylon on the low ground here against Byun, who, once again, Byun is known for doing 2 things, okay? A, it is going to be a very fast tech-heavy build with most likely the command center on the high ground, or... Oh, this eBay block. Okay. This is the third thing he likes to do. The second thing he likes to do is to not scout and then go into something like a 3-rex opener. And the third thing he likes to do is to eBay block. Now, this specific opener is good against 2 out of the 3 options. It is good against an eBay block, and it's also good against a no scout fast CC on the low ground into 3-rex, because you have your first adept out so fast that your opponent will not be able to finish that low ground expansion if they don't scout. They won't even be able to finish that bunker. You get a cancel on the base and your opponent is in trouble. Now I'm curious to see if Byun is well aware of his timings. He followed this up, by the way, with... This was a barracks before gas. Very uncommon. So he's going to be going into a 3-rex follow-up from this, which we don't really see all that often anymore these days. Very often when people play an eBay block, they go into gas first. This allows them, if they open up with a Marine, to get very rapid tech out. We'll see what he builds. Marine first coming out of Byun anyway. And we see some big gas mining going on as well here. I'm curious to see what he decides to do. Is this going to be a fast command center, or is he going to be going into something else? Something like perhaps a factory. It is still a possibility. This is looking like a factory. It's not the quickest factory because this was of a barracks first. But it's still going to be a relatively rapid factory anyway. We see a second Marine being built here. It wouldn't surprise me if he builds 3 Marines. So this means that Byun is very well aware of what he's playing against. He decides to skip the reactor, at least temporarily. I'm gonna get 2. Skip the reactor temporarily, so he can deal with this first adept. A little bit of a supply block coming out of Zest. Not having quite the money that he was expected to have because of his of the eBay block. Needed to pull full workers for that. We're gonna get a high ground CC. We have 2 Marines here on the top floor, just waiting to shoot at whatever pops up. We're gonna go into double Hellion, okay. Okay, very important for Zest to not shoot at the depot. His first shot, oh, he missed it. He wanted to block this. We're gonna see mine. He wanted the first shot to always be at one of these Marines, and the reason for that is so that one adept against 2 Marines actually gets won by the adept if the first shot of the adept is on top of the Marines. However, if your first shot is on top of the depot, you might be able to get chased away. We now have 2 adepts moving up. Well, he's probably not going to move up. He's just going to stay on the low ground waiting for Hellions to pop out. But there's never going to be any Hellions here. Follow-up for Zest is going to be a fast Stargate, which will remain in the main base. Battery on the low ground. You see the worker count is pretty even, but we do have better income here for Zest, as he's already mining from a natural. He's gonna pull ahead in worker count a little bit further, as well as, of course, he has that double nexus production. Command center is gonna lift up before he morphs it into an orbital. The reason for that is because he's oversaturated in the main base and he wants these SCVs to start mining as soon as possible. Where did that shade go? Shade went back, so he probably shaded up or walked up a little bit, then shaded back, afraid of perhaps a potential Hellion drop, perhaps afraid of just 4 Hellions with 2 Marines pushing back those adepts. Do we have a battery in the main base? No, we do not. Randomly placed pylon. Now I love this. Very often you see Protoss player build their first pylon here, then maybe a pylon here. But this pylon is way more unexpected. So very often Terrans know that this is not a place to fly by. We're still going to see a pylon here for spotting, but this pylon is so brilliant. I actually love this pylon. It's probably going to see it, yeah. As a Terran, you're not going to expect it. Same like with a pylon over here. Like, you just don't expect this type of pylon. He barely caught it. I think he actually... Yeah, okay. Now he definitely saw it. We have 4 adepts here. Now 4 adepts not good enough to one-shot Hellions. Also not good enough to one-shot mines here. Is going to be capable of lifting everything. What did you just... Oh, he shaded into the main base. What a giant error out of Zest after, honestly, a super clean defense. Starts struggling, forgets to cancel his shade and loses slightly more workers. Well, lost 1 worker and I guess a little bit more mining time than I thought he would. I thought he lost more. I mean, the worker count is still so even. Such a nice build order here for Byun. Such a nice little opener. I actually see a Raven follow up out of Byun. Huh. Huh. The reason I make the huh noise is because most Terrans, if you ask them about Ravens against Phoenix, will just start laughing and probably beat you up. The reason for that is because Phoenixes do so well against Raven. Ravens takes extra damage from light. I mean, Phoenix, of course, do light damage. Ravens, they behave in an idiotic way. They very often move ahead of the army. So I'm surprised we see this, because usually they aren't capable of getting anything done with these Ravens. They usually die before they even make their way across the map. Now, there is one thing here, and that is that it is a surprise, because no one does it. So perhaps Zest won't be looking for it, but look at that spread of units. He has such crazy good map vision. He's gonna stay at home with these Phoenixes. He's afraid of something being in the corner perhaps, or being on the edges and coming in as he moves out with those Phoenixes. You have a lot of gateways going down here for Zest as well. Not really using any of his probe cuts. They're just continuously building workers and adding gateways as he sees fit. It's gonna go up to at least 6 gateways, 7. Well, okay, now I actually need to count. Okay, 2 are done. 1 is done on the low ground already. He did this off a single gate, by the way. Single gate, Stargate. He went into Twilight and Forge. That is, I want to call it greedy, but he knew his opponent didn't have a lot of marine production, so it's fine. The reason he knew his opponent didn't have a lot of marine production is because he saw a factory on the reactor, and he saw at least 6 factory units. So you know the marine production is going to be lower because that's not on the reactor, which means in the early game you're a little bit safer. But I feel like we're getting kind of caught off track. Okay, well, my point. Okay, this is why Terrans don't build Ravens against Phoenix. You don't pay attention for half a second and it just dies. It's just how it works. Well, why don't the Terrans just control it better? Yeah, I bet they never thought of that. All Terrans are idiots. They just don't consider controlling their Raven better. Like, it's such a difficult unit to control with an army, and it just dies so fast. It's low HP. It's hard to get into position to get any use out of it. If you do get use out of it against Phoenixes, against like Phoenix Colossi, it can straight up win you the game. But very often what ends up happening is you focus so much on getting that Raven, you invest a lot of starport time into it, and then you basically do nothing with it. Okay, here we have a stim for it. It's going to be a scan. Is Byun looking for it? Byun's looking for it. He sees it. His eyes are absolutely fantastic. Yep, there we go. That's that observer. 1 more mine goes down as well. 3 mines for an observer is a trade that Zest is going to be very happy with. It's because he has such a massive zealot count. Zest on 5 gas, by the way, right now. I love this move. He's just going behind the army of Byun, saying, hey, if you're reinforcing with anything, my Phoenixes will pick this up. And right now we have an attack coming in out of Zest. He knows, okay, the reinforcements can't be too close. Ooh, good micro though. Even without mines, this feels scary to engage into. There's 3 batteries up here, which means that I think Zest is going to be fine defensively. He's flying a prism across the map, has good vision with these pylons on the bottom side. Yes, he already has a robotics facility. Yes, he's already on 5 gas, now going up to 6. And I think he can start thinking about throwing down a Robo Bay and a second robotics facility, either for Disruptors or for Colossi. 5 Zealots coming in here. Something that Zest has been liking is just sending around these big Zealot run by, something like 10, 12 Zealots. Right now we're only seeing 5. 2 more are being warped in, we'll go up to 7. We'll be able to take out at least these 2 Marauders, at least chase away these Marauders. A couple of Zealots are going pretty ham here, decent enough force fields. Immortal is pushing out a lot of damage. On top of these Marauders, are we seeing a Minute? Yes, 1 Minute on one of these Archons. Archon will survive, should get some healing before he decides to engage into this again. 47 worker supply against 64 right now, and Zest is feeling confident. I don't think he needs to do this. I don't think he needs to do this, Zest, but perhaps he wants to do this, and this fight is looking very good. Nice Zealot flank coming in here as well, and a lot of these medevacs are gonna go down, or at least take a lot of damage. I see 2, 3 medevacs have gone down already, and Zest continues with his rally forward here. Uh-oh, there's no more boost available. These medevacs are gonna go down, and now they're full as well, or at least semi-full. Zest, instead of taking care of this... no, he's just gonna go back. He's gonna end the game. Byun loses this game in very rapid fashion. After what looked like a fine early game, Zest just with these Zealot run-bys a little bit too powerful. Takes game number 2 and evens up this best of 5. Game number 3 is going to be played on Oxide. After Zest took the last map, he once again opts for the exact same strategy, low ground pylon on 12. We're gonna see that gateway being built on 13 here. And the question is... actually, there is no question here. I was gonna say maybe it's a proxy void ray, but if it is a proxy void ray, you want all of those buildings as close to your nexus as possible, so you get a little bit more money. You can get those gases faster, and also makes it easier to defend against any potential Reapers. But this is a repeat. If they do this 2 more times, and this was a chess game, it would be a draw. Luckily, that's not how it works in StarCraft, but we are going to be seeing, once again, I think, yep, 17 seconds, 14 seconds. This was a barracks before gas once again. So similar opener into that eBay block. And we actually have a completely similar game to last game, and I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of liking it, to be honest. Liking it. I'm curious to see if Byun will switch it up. Maybe we'll open up with a Hellion opener, maybe only a single Marine, maybe once again with double Marines. I don't know. I don't know what his plan is. Ooh. He is switching up. Seeing a reactor first coming out of Byun. And he's mining less gas. You see that? We're only seeing a single worker in gas. So we're thinking right now... well, what are we thinking right now? Is this going to be a low ground CC? A little bit delayed. What did he just cancel? Oh, his eBay. Okay, just cancel his eBay, throws down his command center. His opponent is going to have a very fast adept, and this actually could pose a threat if a probe joins the adept. So the probe and the adept work together very well against Marines. And I know this sounds a little bit silly, but having a probe is actually a massive deal, because if you have a probe and your opponent focuses the probe, you still get 1 shot in with your probe. So if you have a probe, you will be able to 2-shot one of the Marines, and then the other Marine will still be 3-shot. If your opponent decides to not focus the probe, your probe can get 1 shot on each Marine, and that would mean that your adept only requires 4 shots to take out 2 Marines. And because of the timing of the Cyber Core, you're gonna be down here while there's only 2 Marines out. Now that timing isn't very long, but perhaps you could have done something. At least maybe get one of these Marines, or maybe get the SCV building. Now, it's gonna be a little bit tricky because of this ramp as well. Once he gets 6 Marines out. Oh my god, brilliant move out of Byun. Decides to just actually keep pushing on, gets the first adept, and this is such a huge loss here for Zest, who, if you build a pylon at 12 and you get a gateway at 13, you're just sacrificing a lot of economy. This is way less economically sound compared to just a standard core first. Once again, Byun, he's looking for it. He's looking for a kill. He knows that he has such a Marine count where he can kill this adept if he finds it once again. Just almost forgot to cancel there. I don't think that was intentional waiting that long. We see that patrol move coming out of Zest, decides to shade in. He needs to be so careful. Follow-up is going to be a Dark Shrine here for Zest out of... is this triple gate we're going to be seeing? Oh yes sir, triple gate. Now if this adept dies, Zest is going to be in major trouble. The reason for this is because Stim is being researched, and Zest needs to be aware of that. Oh, come on. Zest, you... oh, he's playing with fire here. He's playing with... This could be an extremely short game. This could be an extremely short game. And I think it's all going to depend on whether this adept stays alive or not. It's all going... The thing is, if this adept stays alive and sees the move out, Zest can full wall. He can build a battery. He can full wall this with another pylon, with a gate... Oh, actually, I don't think he can gateway wall anymore over here. Oh, Zest might just be in trouble no matter what. This pylon, I think, is blocking the gateway wall. I could be wrong, but this looks like 1, 2. Then the third block is being blocked by the cyber core. There could be a potentially game-ending error. Now, it could also go the other way, of course. I mean, we have no turrets. We only have a single scan available right now. If they get used for a mule, we'll have 0 scans available. This is going to be a semi-base tradey scenario. Here we have 3DTs being warped in. No turrets still. Marauders are being kept at home. Here comes Zest. Zest once again has no wall whatsoever. He does know that this move out is coming. We see the DTs doing a lot of damage. Oh, he's gonna go for a warp in the main base. Turret in the main base, and here come the Marines. I don't know who's actually going to win this, but we have a pro pool. We have a super battery available. 6 workers have gone down already. Zest recalls the prison. Okay, Zest. What? That was terrible. What? In the world. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't like doing this in series, but I am just so confused right now. If you take one of your DTs, you recall one of your DTs, I'd say that makes sense, you know? You could even do that immediately. So you keep 2 DTs here on the low ground, you recall 1 DT, and you try to go for a full wall, is what I would say you do here. Then you force 1 scan immediately on that first DT, and when you can warp in another DT, you might be capable of taking out these Marines while you're denying mining completely on the natural with your 2 DTs, maybe even taking out depots. I mean, all 3 DTs, you could even recall 2 DTs, but don't send them in together. Yeah, very weird response here coming out of Zest, and it's gonna cost him the game and put Byun on match point. So we will be heading into game number 3. Nice. 4. Game number 4, guys. And as we head into game number 4, I have to make a small adjustment, as I was counting the replays and I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't check out. This is a best of 7, so it's not quite match point. My apologies for that, of course, guys. As always, production value, not the greatest. Oh, this is Byun, you cheeky man. His SCVs like moving on the map before 50 seconds get hit. This is crazy. Okay, this is going to be a 2-Rex. Could potentially be a 3-Rex, but 3-Rex kind of sucks. I'd be surprised to see this go across the map. It's just going to be a... Yeah, okay, it's just going to be a 2-Rex. Sick. Now, this is a... Okay, so I kind of want to explain how all of this works, but I feel like we don't have the time. So, once again, remember when I said that most people know the amount of builds that Byun has, right? He's forming a wall, by the way, which is really cool. Okay, I'm all over the place. I want to tell you guys a lot of things. So, imagine you scout over here as Zest, and then you click on the minimap to your opponent's base. The path you will take as a probe automatically will be over here, and thus you will not scout this. So, it's like an added safety for Byun if your opponent scouts here and then wants to click here on the minimap, which is kind of cool. Now, what I was going to say is that a lot of Byun's builds are very weak against things like something that Zest is doing right now, like a no scout into a second proxy pylon, like Stargate, or just a no scout in general is really good against Byun because he never scouts himself. You can open up with a Stargate, you can open up with gateways behind it. Yeah, something like this, like a parting opener, a 3-gate 6 adept is really good as well. And Byun is just kind of playing with his reputation here. Like people, oh no, don't show it. What? Why would you show it? I mean, it doesn't matter. I think this is still a really good position for Byun, but If you can hide something, you might as well hide it, no? We have a first Stalker on the way. Is he gonna build a bunker on the high ground? Oh, he's going all out. He's going... This is not necessary. This is 2 Rex, not 3 Rex. With 3 Rex, you want to kill. With 2 Rex, you want to deny the natural. If you get deny on the natural with a 2 Rex, you're completely fine. We have a second gateway out on the map here for Zest. First Stalker is out as well. Yes, this bunker is gonna get cancelled, and this low ground base is most likely still going to fall. We have 4 Marines in a bunker. This bunker is perfectly placed in that it can't be hit from a high ground area. So the moment this Stalker wants to attack the bunker, he will need to face the dire consequence of taking a lot of hits. Now, there's going to be 3 gate pressure behind this, okay? We'll have Zest having a bunch of Stalkers across the map, maybe adepts, I don't know yet. But with a factory here, once a single Cyclone is out, that should most likely be good enough. There's going to be 3 Stalkers initially. Single Cyclone with SCV pool should do the trick. Don't forget there's no tech here. The moment there's no tech with this for Zest, it means he can never really break out of this. There's just too many Marines. A second bunker can be added, and even though he might be capable of killing a couple of workers, I don't think Zest is going to be capable of actually killing his opponent here. We see a starport going down, we see a factory at the tech lab, just like I expected, and we have a battery on the high ground. Second battery on the high ground as well, just in case. So you see this battery isn't even necessarily for, like, hey, I want to start attacking that bunker. It's more like, hey, I don't want to die, you know, and props to Zest for trying to stay alive. You know, I also like to stay alive. Me and Zest have another thing in common. Well, another thing. Me and Zest are basically opposites. He's handsome, he wins tournaments, people like him. Yeah, we have these 2 SCVs shouldn't be going down. That's a bit of a mistake. Marines trying to move up. I'm not a big fan of this, honestly, here. This Marine move up. Ooh, nice little super battery usage out of Zest. He's gonna save his second battery, but yeah, this is the real issue. I mean, the fact that he's worried about staying alive is kind of a joke, honestly, because his real worry should be like, hey, my opponent has tech, and I'm building a robotics facility. I'm not getting anything done. Interesting. Very interesting. We see the bunker being salvaged. These Marines will not go home. They get Kerrigan behind, but at least with the 4 of them. Band of brothers. These 5 will most likely make it home. This barracks get a full scout. Sees, hey, you're getting an observer. Or at least getting a unit out of that robotics facility. Of course, you can't know it's an observer. Might be able to tell. No, okay. But like the timing that it finishes. But honestly, if you know that type of stuff, you're too tryhard. You should probably go do something else with your life. Can't believe he's trying so hard to win, guys. Second barracks is being built here. Single Banshee. This is a TVT Banshee, as we call them. This is a counter-attack TVT Banshee. So this is a very common thing we see people do in TVT. If you feel like your opponent is going to attack you, you just hide a Banshee on the map and you go into your opponent's base, and it forces your opponent to go back or to take a bunch of losses. It also adds a little bit of DPS in case you're being attacked just as the Banshee pops, and you're not going to get cloaked. So this is not a major investment. Banshees are actually really cheap. People don't realize this because whenever you see Banshees, they always come in 2s, and they also always get cloaked, and then it becomes a very big investment. But if it's just a single Banshee, if you kill 2 workers, you're actually going to be kind of, you know, it's like, well, could have spent that money somewhere else, but it's not the end of the world, and you usually even don't mind it that much. We have a Twilight with Blink here for Zest. Also, okay, this is actually... this actually is kind of bad for Zest. Even though this didn't kill anything, he doesn't know right now if this Banshee is ever going to be getting cloak, so he might build an extra observer, which he doesn't really want, and he's also just gonna leave units on both sides for a very long time. So this is one of those 2 supply investments here for Byun that just pays off because you're already tying up a lot of supply of your opponent. I'm surprised we're not seeing an observer here, by the way, out of Zest, a second observer. That actually is pretty surprising for me. Maybe this is something Byun does often. Okay, we have a second observer already, never mind. I guess I'm surprised we don't have an observer with this Banshee. That's what I would do. But I guess that's also the reason why I'm not in the Oli Moly monthly finals. Instead, I'm casting the games. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm having a great time doing it, but, you know, playing one of these bad boys every now and again, I wouldn't mind either. We're actually seeing a big investment in gateways. So he has 2 gas. He must have been banking a lot of gas. I guess 1 base on 2 gas does allow you to bank a lot of gas, as the mineral gas ratio is not that great for you. This is 8. Is this 8 gate? Yeah, this is 8 gate. We have a prism on the way. We still have a proxy gate here as well, so kind of interesting. I'm just so curious what he's going to try to achieve with these 8 gates. He has very low worker count. He's on 45. Is this pure Stalker Immortal? I see Zest do this type of stuff sometimes, and I look at it and I'm thinking, this sucks, Zest. This isn't it, you know? Like, you're cutting so hard into your workers. Like how can this be it, you know? Like, I don't understand. So the plan here for Zest is to trick his opponent into attacking him, and then he counters attack with a prism, and then he just crushes him because he gets so many units. Yeah, his income just sucks though. He's also investing so much into batteries at home. Look at that. 2 batteries over here. So no workers extra being built. It's kind of cool, but also kind of meh. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of this. I understand that Zest feels like he's behind, because he is behind and he needs to do something, but I'm not sure if this is better than trying to rush out Storm, you know? You have some moves come out of Zest, blinking back. 2 medevacs are going to be moving in right now. Zest somehow not responding. Oh, he didn't have a recall available. This is really, really painful, because Zest's plan really was just to crush that first push and then do a counter attack. And the longer the game goes on, the better the upgrades will get for his opponent. He's going to lose a cyber core. He doesn't want to trade. He wants to destroy his opponent. This is not how he imagined this to go at all. Yeah, and I'm not liking his position whatsoever. Zest needs to find an opportunity to move across the map and make it feel natural. But, I mean, you're never going to really get an opportunity to straight up move across the map. Oh, this is maybe the dream scenario for Zest. The funny thing is, even though this is the dream scenario, he still could just kind of die. You know, like, it's not like he's in a great spot. He's going to get a forge now. He's adding more and more pylons. He has a big immortal count. I mean, he has 3 immortals, which is nice. He has 12 zealots, which is fine. I mean, he's gonna need the engagement of a lifetime, and Byun's gonna need to fall asleep for a couple of seconds here. Stim forward. Byun sees this. He's gonna use his anti-armor missile. Oh my god, it's gonna hit absolutely everything. No armor upgrades whatsoever on these zealots already. This is so painful here right now for our good friend Zest. Down in upgrades, down in eco. He's still outmining his opponent a little bit because this base is not mining, and the main and the natural are a little bit oversaturated here for Byun. Byun's actually deciding to go back, and he doesn't have any of his tank siege. This is an opportunity here for Zest to actually do something. See, all of these tanks are being picked up. We have some reinforcements here. Zest is aware of that. This prism is gonna warp in from the side. Not the greatest start of the fight here for Zest, but maybe with this flank for Immortals going strong as well. Last one just seems so freaking strong. There's so many medevacs with this army as well. Immortals, however, are pushing through. Another Immortals being built. We already have 5 Immortals. It's actually very powerful against these Marauder heavy armies, but there's no real, you know, no meat. Nothing to tank in front of this. Usually as a TOS player you want to have something, you know, some Archons, some Zealots. But he doesn't really have, you know, anything in front. I'm surprised how well he does though. This is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Chrono Boost on Zest's Nexus, but what should he even be using it on? I guess now on the upgrade it's probably doing that, but before, like, you can just Chrono Boost Warp Gates. Probably constantly had the availability to build units because his income just sucks so hard. He's constantly been on 2 gas. Like, the reason you need more gateways is to spend your gas as well into things like Archons, into things like maybe Robo units, but the gas has not been a thing that he's been using. These 4 Zealots are gonna die, this Prism is gonna die as well. There goes his counterattack possibility. I think this is just... I mean, this is just it, no? Ooh, supply drop. I saw that. Nice try, Byun. Idiot. Can't even macro. Meanwhile, my own game. Supply lock for 5 minutes straight. He was supply lock for like 3 seconds. He was like, let me just throw this thing down. Like, that's pathetic. 3 seconds. I'm happy with my supply block time is below like 3 minutes or something like that. Freaking Byun, man. His mechanics are so stellar, it's really crazy. It's gonna take down these rocks, and once these rocks go down, I mean... Zest has a scary army, but his upgrades just suck. They really just suck. We have Ghost Academy Liberators going on, so I think Byun wants to end the game. We could have also seen an armory, second eBay. I'm surprised that Byun is not moving in yet. I actually am surprised. Yeah, I really am. Just gonna wait for these Liberators, I guess. There should be Disruptors, by the way, coming out of Zest. No Colossi. I saw he built a Robo Bay. Disruptor to clear these mines. His Immortal count is good. The problem is his entire army just gets hard countered by Ghost. And guess what, my friends? There is Ghost on the way. It's gonna be a flank or a run by. That's gonna be a flank, I guess. Yeah, Byun's just gonna walk in here. Couple of decent force fields though. Batteries in the back providing a lot of value. We have this Zealot run by taking down a lot of the reinforcements. Super Battery is putting in some work, but not enough work. There's simply a little bit too much damage output out of this army from Byun, and Byun is going to take game number 4 as well. And if you still think it's a best of 5, then think again, this is a best of 7, so we'll have at least one more game. Byun now really is on max. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here once again. Oh my god, Byun, what are you doing? I mean, this could just be a single proxy Rex, right? He sent it out so fast though. We're gonna go into the natural. Oh, you prick. Oh, you massive. Oh my god, Byun. He played beautiful this series. Byun actually played so much with his own reputation, with his image, how other people perceive him, and just all of these executions have been so good as well. His control is crazy. Of course he's gonna be good at proxy rexing, and now he won every mind game this series, okay? People compliment Byun too much on his mechanics. They forget that he is so freaking smart as well. What a beautiful strategy pick here. Oh my god, this is so good. I love this. And Zest is... You know what Zest is gonna scout? He sees the lack of a barracks here. So he wants to see the gas right now. He wants to know, hey, what is this? You know, is this a 2-rex? Is this a proxy rex like we've seen before? And now Zest is gonna scout here, because this is such a common location. The proxy... No, Byun! He shows it, but it's intended. Oh my god. This is such a beautiful strategy. This is so good. Oh, he blocks the natural. So, I thought that he wanted to hide a bunker, but no. Byun is way more ambitious than I am. He says, why would I want to let him get a Nexus if I can just, with a Reaper and a Marine, actually just keep him away from his ramp and never let him finish this Nexus? What do you attack here if you're Byun? What do you attack? Do you go for probes? He's making his opponent choose now. Either use the Zealot to chase away this Reaper, or probably lose some probes, or at least a bunch of mining time. He's gonna go for mining time. He's gonna save. Is he gonna land the barracks here? If he lands the barracks here, I would have left if I was Zest. What a beautiful start here. What a beautiful early game out of Byun once again. These are builds that we haven't seen in a long time. These ideas that are being used are just so cool. I love this. I can just really appreciate the way that he's playing today. Usually, I think the one weakness I always find of Byun is that I always felt like he was a little bit predictable in his TVP, where he was too focused on the 3 Rexes, too focused on those early heavy gas builds, where it was obvious whether he was going to go into a heavy gas build and then Stargate would be very good against him, or if he was playing a 3-Rex, you could play things like a quick blink with a fast third, or even something like Robo Colossus was really good against a lot of his openers. But today it seems like Byun decided to, I don't know, just turned a switch or something. He was like, okay, this tournament is important enough for me where I can, I want to show some different things here. And Oh man, he showed some different things. This has just been absolutely beautiful StarCraft out of Byun. Okay, today he's been playing good StarCraft, and this is sick. I think if you're a Byun fan and you want him to do well in future tournaments, I think this is how he should be playing in his tournaments. Like just with such high variety, big diversity, like how Maru does his TVPs as well. You know, so many build orders, and then you know that these guys are gonna have good execution no matter what they do. Sometimes it feels like their brain isn't on par with their hands, but what are you doing? He's scouting for a proxy with the medevac. And is he gonna fake a mine drop or something like that? Like, what is he doing? To be honest, such a... God, I wish I could pick his brain. It really sucks that I don't speak Korean. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll learn Korean so I can send them questions in Twitter DM. Hey Byun, Harstem here. I got a couple of questions. Probably good for my career as well. I can ask Zest why he does things in his native language. I always feel like when I speak English with Zest, he gives me, you know, short answers because it's English. He doesn't feel too comfortable in it. I mean, let's be real, his English is 10 times better than my Korean, but he still doesn't feel too great at it. I have no clue why Byun just did this, but I like it anyway, so I'm not gonna complain. He scouted everything, didn't he? No, he didn't see the Twilight. He didn't see a second unit out of the Stargate though, so I think he can guess it. Yeah, it's getting a tank. Tank is such a unit you don't build against an Oracle opener, but just a unit you build against like Stargate stuff. Against Blink, like follow-ups, yeah. I love it. I'm a fan. I'm in love with the BO. Love this build order. I love the way he's playing. Now, this doesn't even mean that Byun is necessarily really far ahead. I think he's in a good spot, don't get me wrong. He once again has faster upgrades. Zest seems to be very keen on delaying those. What are we playing, Zest? Templar Archive, straight Blink. Very fast 4 gas. He's delaying his forge here. These are cool builds against like double reactor openers. Okay, your opponent opens up with 2 reactors. You do something like this. I'd be like, okay, that's kind of tight, but against, I think it's like 3 triple tanks straight into Marauder. I don't know, the storms just aren't as impactful against these big Marauder counts. And Byun's pre-splits are so good that very often it feels like they don't do anything, like these storms. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that storm is always good, and that... I don't know. Very fast 5th gas as well. Zest is so focused on gas in this series. There's 3 mines in his medevac, by the way. Zest is, well, I think out of position is an understatement. Like, he's just not in a position currently that has anything to do with being defensive. I wouldn't have minded if he dropped 1 every single base, but I mean, I can't blame him for this either. He's gonna get double mines in at the natural, single mine in the main, and now he lands a Viking as, oh my god, Byun, you're so annoying to play against. He's getting good damage, and as he's doing that, he finds the time to move out as well. So he says, okay, you're gonna need to pull your stalkers back. That means if I move across the map right now, you're not gonna be able to kite me backwards. I know my combat shield isn't done yet. My tanks will be in a sick position, at least in a forward position. There is an Oracle right now on Byun's side of the map. What is he do? Oh my god. He knows that there is buildings here, and he's like, hey, these things are free, aren't they, Zest? Like, what are you gonna do if I go there? Like, what is the plan there for you, buddy? And then I think the plan here for Zest is to say, well, I guess you can have it. Yeah, I'll just watch from a distance. Like a voyeur. Looks. Yeah. So it takes out that gateway. It's gonna take out 2 pylons. There's a bit of a run by here coming in with an Oracle as well. Kind of cool setup here out of Zest. I like this. There's not a lot of reinforcements here. This is looking pretty bad for Byun, actually. Byun thought that he had a lot of time, but now he needs to hurry up, or he needs to clean this up. Pulls all of his workers back upstairs. His mules are not quite mining. This position is nasty. We haven't seen this used at all yet by Terrans, but that looks maddening, honestly. Oh, he's moving forward now with the tanks. He's committed to this play. He's committed to the spiel. Good blink out of Zest. Don't forget that Zest has a bunch of storms as well, so he has good zoning tools. I mean, nothing zones quite as well as 80 damage in 4 seconds. Gets a bunch of stuff. Oh, hello, Zest. Actually, lost to Templar. A little bit sleepy play out of Zest. He's in a good spot though. No upgrades. Third base is really late though for Byun. Forgot to restart it again. I like this position for Zest. He's getting... Holy crap, this is not a run by, this is a base trade attempt. This is an assassination. There's an attempted murder here. What is this, Zest? That's a lot of freaking zealous, but he can't move up that ramp, and now Byun perhaps smells an opportunity, yes. Elevated his entire army in. Oracle finally dies into that mine. We don't have any storms left because he lost two of those Templar earlier. Now Zest is running back with his zealots. He forced a lot of reinforcements at home, so even though the army supply looks in favor of Byun, actually the army that's at home defending right now for Zest is big enough to probably just straight up clean this up. The problem that I see for him is that... Well, first of all, can he actually clean this up? Yes, I think he can clean this up. He has a lot of money in the bank. The problem, though, is he has no upgrades. He has no upgrades. Yes, his income is good, but his opponent doesn't have a third base. Is he just dying to a drop? How many works have gone down? 18 workers were killed. 5 right now, 13 earlier with that weird Viking mine sequence that allowed Byun to move into position. He's been... Once again, beautiful. He kind of draws this army towards the third base and then says, hey, I still have 2 more medevacs, my friend. How ready are you for these? And Zest says, well, not at all, I guess. Zest needs to blink back right now. Recall could be a possibility. No, we see Zest just moving back entirely, but his own SimCity is working against him. This mine's getting a brilliant shot off. 1-1 bio trades so well against 0-0 gateway units. And all of a sudden we see Byun once again in a relatively big lead. Not only supply-wise, but also upgrade-wise. His 3rd CC... Wait, what? He just gave up on the idea of a 3rd CC, by the way. He said, okay, you know what? You just want to do these weird run-bys. You want to cancel my 3rd CC. I'll just add barracks 4 and 5. And we'll see how ready you are for my SCV pool, which is honestly kind of inevitably coming. I think he's going to pull like 10-12 workers with his next push if these ghosts finish up. He might already start moving out right now. No, does he? I mean, he should probably wait for the ghost, right? I'd be very surprised if he doesn't pull any of the boys right here. I'd be very surprised if... Look at Zest's vision, how poor it is, by the way. He has no clue what's happening in this game. It's like my average ladder game. Scans forward, sees these stalkers. Yeah. It's gonna load in, yeah. Vision is just too bad. If hindsight is 20/20, then this is -5, what Zest currently has. I'm not sure if that's some like a prescription. I don't quite understand how glasses work, but if that joke didn't work, feel free to leave a comment down below. I think this actually is going to be it here. Yeah, there's too many mines here, there's too many marauders, too many medevacs as well, and kiting forever. It might not straight up end here, but I think with the next push, I mean, we're just waiting for nothing. You know, Zest is surviving to a situation where life is worse. It's like if you're in the Matrix and you're holding off the robots, you know, you're kind of waiting for something to change, you know? In the end, the robots stop fighting. So you're holding off for like there was like a timer. But here, once the timer runs out, like Zest is just going to explode. There's nothing positive here for him. Like he's not getting upgrades. He's not getting better tech. He's not even building Templar anymore. Like the situation just has been getting worse and worse for him the longer the game goes on. While all he has been trying to do is just defend and not investing in the future. And I think that's not going to pay off for him right here, as there's mines in positions. There is Ghost. Beyond decided SCVs are not necessary. Gets a third base at 12 minutes. But this is the pretend macro, you know? When you won a game with a 12 pool and then you just build 3 hatcheries. So when your opponent rewinds the replays as well, this guy was out macroing me at the same time. GG gets called and Byun wins the best of 7 very convincingly with a 4-1 score. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash the like button. Really hit that thumbs up. It helps me a lot. And we'll see you all next time for a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.